The minority on the Defense and Interior Committee say they have evidence that morale has slumped among police officers deployed to Bawku to maintain peace. Speaking on PM Express, ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee, Reverend Int'l, who is also the Ascent South MP, revealed he is in possession of audio recordings in which some officers expressed fear for their lives in the midst of the worsening security situation in the area. His concerns may have been reinforced by a leaked wireless message from the Ghana Police Service, which paints a grim picture of the situation in Bawku and surrounding areas in the Upper East region. The leaked wireless message instructs police personnel and their families from traveling to Bawku because they have been become targets now in this raging conflict there. The IGP in that leaked message directed the officers already deployed in the area to wear protective gear and be escorted by armored vehicles during operations. We'll get to the Defense and Interior Committee's ranking members' point on the morale and the fear among police officers pretty shortly, but my colleague Papani Ashali is joining me right now with that wireless message from the police top hierarchy. What do we know from this?
Well, Evans, essentially, this is a ban on all forms of movement for two categories of people. First of all, those that are not on operational duties, and then secondly, for those who are on operational duties, what exactly the new protocol will be. Now, this is a wireless message addressed to the district and unit commanders in all of the Upper East region. Now, it says that there's one ban on movement of personnel to Bawku, so nobody is going to go to Bawku.
No police officers.
Yes, the police officers. That particular sentence is for police officers. It expands that later and we'll come to that. Now, it continues, it says that the police administration has observed a dangerous development in Bawku and its environs. That's where they begin to expand the conversation away from Bawku. It says personnel and their families have become targets in these areas by unknown persons. Now, it goes on to give some more directives. It says there's a ban on personnel traveling to Bawku with immediate effect. Then it goes on to say it further also directs movement of personnel, both indigents and non-indigents. This is away from just the police personnel stationed there, including their families in Pusiga and then Binduri, is banned. Personnel deployed on operational duties in these areas should ensure they put on the appropriate PPEs and are supposed to be under armored escorts. And that's how it says, and are set for the strict compliance of these directives, and nobody should deviate from this. And this clearly is a new strategy that the police has now directed to all their men in and out of Bawku.
We're now hearing, Papa, thank you very much, hearing from the ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee, Reverend Int'l, who is raising serious concerns about a decline in morale among security personnel deployed to Bawku. He says he has audio recordings of officers expressing fear for their lives.
There's another concern that is quite worrying. That has to do with the morale of the men in uniform on ground.
You think their morale has been shattered?
It's one very unfortunate observation. So here I applaud the IGP, Mr. Christian Tete-Yohunu, for the very bold and brave, timely visit to the conflict zone and interacting with some key stakeholders and taking opportunity to also motivate the men. After that, we've had some videos purported to be coming from security officers, police officers in the zone. When you hear, I have had the opportunity to hear about 10 of such. It is really worrying. You can tell clearly people are in fear. Even security officers are in fear. And you hear guns being shot close by. They are dwelling around police stations, the sound of guns and all these creating fear. It just shows that this is not a time that anyone should think that Bawku conflict should be left.
I'm curious. So are these police officers or military officers you're speaking to? You're telling they are in fear of the latest eruption?
Yes, those voices that came up reported to be coming from various security operatives. Some of them who gave further information in the audios indicates that they are police officers. I'm sure I'll share with you so that you can also be at that.
You verified that they are?
Very well, absolutely. So it's an indication that something more ought to be done.
Well, the South MP says, among others, the government should consider declaring a state of emergency in Bawku to address the crisis.
In the posturing of the security agencies, I will continue to applaud them and urge them to be firm, to be impartial, like my colleague Honorable Tobu has indicated, and to be more diplomatic in the handling of the situation, considering the sophisticated emotions, the cultural sensitivities, the traditional sensitivities around the conflict in the Bawku enclave.
Let's address 2 quick points. One is that those who say, if you look at the latest eruption, what you need, a different approach. One is declaration of a state of emergency there ahead of the 2-Force initiative to now kickstart and breathe life into the talks to solve this. Do you support that action, state of emergency?
I think it is time for that action to be exacted so that further escalations will be ceased, because we need a state of calm for the 2-4 mediation to gain grounds. And therefore, if I would have, my first choice would have been for the parties involved themselves to heed to our appeal, to exercise restraint and to have calm and to refrain from reprisal attacks. They themselves are able and they're capable. They can do it on their own. If we give them some time and this appeal goes and we hear them, and like I said, the government leads this effort and they are listened to, that calm can be assured without necessarily having to impose a state of emergency. But if that effort is exercised and still we do not yield the kind of calm that is expected, then it will be right for a state of emergency to apply in that case.
Well, tonight we're hearing from the Mengsha Palace. The Asantehene Otumfuo himself has penned a letter now to the warring factions, asking them to come to the table. Papani is here with more on this. We have a press statement from the Mengsha Palace.
Yes, Evans, and this is just coming today, and it says that His Majesty Otumfuo said to the second, Asantehene will resume mediation of the Bawku crisis as agreed with both parties from April 28 to May 1, 2025. And this, if you are part of these factions, don't expect to see Otumfuo's convoy in the region. It says that this is going to be at the Mengsha Palace in Kumasi. It now concludes and says that Asantehene requests all stakeholders to cooperate for us to find a lasting peace in Bawku. Evans.
Okay, so we're looking forward to the commencement of the mediation talks led by the Otumfuo. I want to bring in security analyst Professor Kwesi Ening joins us on the line right now. Prof, I'm grateful that you could join us on this unfolding conflict in Bawku. We've seen this police wireless message. Is this a reflection of the current state of affairs in Bawku and that it is a deeper failure than the state wants to admit, or is simply a tactical security measure? Where do you stand on that?
I've always stood, Evans, that our risk assessment have at best been bogus and at worst utterly disgraceful. What this wireless message tells us is that the Ghana Police Service recognizes the extreme situation that is in Bawku and that they need to take all the necessary measures. First, to protect their own staff who are located there, hopefully to provide some psychological support, beef it up eventually. But the state of Ghana would need to demonstrate its capacity to recapture the territories to which even the Ghana police is now ready in sending in extra men. So this is a dramatic escalation of the situation in Bawku, particularly when some people attempted to assassinate the IGP by shooting at his car. If you see that bullet hole, and I believe that GP1 is always an armored vehicle, then it tells you about the quality and the type of ammunition and firepower that we are looking at.
And I'm also curious what this then signals to the public and to the armed factions when police officers have been directed not to move while in Bawku. So your family and yourself, you can't move from your own home unless you are being instructed and directed into the theater and under armored guard. Is this a tactical retreat that then fuels the conflict even more because those who are armed are seeing the security officers themselves afraid?
Well, I think in operational calculus, this sends a signal to those who are armed that they are now on an upward ascendant, that the statutory security forces have been pinned to the ground or to the wall. So we need some dramatic change in our operational tactics within the next 72 hours. Otherwise, I'm afraid we will lose the initiative. The letter inviting the faction to Menshia is a useful first step, but once more, it gives the impression that we know who the factions are beyond the two main chieftaincy factions. And my argument is that the conflict parties have transformed, they've multiplied, they form opportunistic alliances and when it suits their interest, and the increasing use of military-grade weaponry and the attack on their GP shows that they think they have both the firepower and the connection to take on the might of it. But even just one last point that people seem to overlook. As I've said, our risk assessments are at best hollow and at worst utterly disgraceful. What was it that was concluded that encouraged His Excellency the President to go to Bawku, triumphantly thinking that the crisis was at an end? It means that the security couples around him read the signals wrongly and gave His Excellency this perception that, oh, everything is okay, we are on our way to peace. Go there and your presence will accelerate the process. And everything has gone wrong. So what happened? It would really be very nice were the president to say, look, we need to organize an emergency meeting of critical minds to assess that intelligence. Because even you and I have had this conversation several times over several years. I bet you next year by now, if we use the same variables and approaches and doing the calculus, we will be having this conversation, and the multiple factions will be even much stronger, more daring, and ready to take on the might of the community.
I mean, that's a really ominous forecast. And very briefly, might a state of emergency help?
A state of emergency and the declaration of curfews are a very lazy approach to dealing with the crisis that is increasingly becoming intractable. People don't want to think outside the box. So, let's do state of emergency. Let's do a curfew. We've curfewed and state of emergency for close to 30 years, and it's getting. We need different approaches, more nuanced, more informed, more daring, using the risk assessment and tools and intelligence that is available to us. This pussyfooting and tickling ourselves so we can laugh doesn't help. We need new things.
I'm grateful, Professor Int'l, there talking to us about the raging conflict in Bawku, and we stay there a while longer because tonight medical doctors are fleeing the area and they are rejecting transfers there entirely. They're choosing joblessness over staying in a conflict zone that continues to claim lives. Now, last Monday, at least 3 people were killed in renewed violence there. Several homes have been torched, including one reportedly belonging to a member of parliament. The situation escalated on Sunday when two plainclothes police officers were shot and killed by unknown assailants. Now, teachers and health workers are living on the edge. In fact, you've heard the security itself, the policemen themselves are now being asked to stay at home and not move. And the Defense and Interior rankings say they are living in fear. Think about the teachers and the nurses. Many are now contemplating exiting the area altogether. The president of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Frank Srebo, says the situation is dire.
Indeed, it is a disaster for even us as medical doctors who are working in Bawku at the moment. A lot of our doctors in Bawku currently are working under extreme emotional stress and fear. And if you speak to them, you realize that most of them are not themselves. And they will tell you that their output has really gone down. So what is happening is that for some of them, even going to work is a problem. So absenteeism is something that is very much rife. And a few of them have decided to leave. So we have some who have left and they are currently in Accra and Kumasi and they are refusing to go back. What is also happening is that there are some of them who are in administrative positions and they are unable to enforce any discipline. So, for example, if a worker doesn't come to work and you decide that you even want to take disciplinary action against the worker, the next day your photograph is plastered all over and you are threatened that if you don't take care, you'll be the next target.
Wow.
We've had doctors whose homes have been raided and riddled with bullets, and so they have to seek police protection. So it is not easy at all. And as you can see, other people are moving out, and so are the doctors. And now people are refusing to accept postings to Bawku. In the past, Bawku used to be one of the places where, regardless of even the issues with the fact that doctors were not accepting postings to the northern regions, they were a place that was quite attractive for doctors to go to. And so Bawku had no challenge with medical personnel at all. But recently, nobody's agreeing to accept any postings to Bawku.
Well, Dr. Srebo says that the new police movement restrictions could further endanger the lives of medical doctors.
Anybody at this moment, if you are posted to Bawku, you would gladly accept to go. No way. And so definitely it's not a place for any doctor to accept to go. I am sure if you even accept to go, your family would deny you. So obviously, new postings is something that is off.
Doctor, final question before even the police that is supposed to provide us with security, the directive to police personnel on the ground is that they should stay home. Even if they have to move, they should move in an armored vehicle. Where they have nothing, they should stay home and they should restrict their movement. This is the directive from the IGP to police personnel on the ground. I don't know what the GMA is doing together with the Ministry of Health to ensure the protection of those who have accepted to stay and offer their services to Bawku.
Let me say, whether fortunately or unfortunately, the same police that is offering protection for our members who are in Bawku at the moment is the same police doing a very good job to ensure that our members are able to go to work and come home. And their homes are actually under security. And so, and let me indicate that it's also very good that directly no doctor has been targeted.
Okay.
So I think for the police, recently we saw at least two of their personnel being killed. But we have not had any doctor directly being targeted. And so that gives us a little bit of comfort. But you never know. You can be caught in the crossfire. And then the good thing is that anybody whose life had been threatened, quickly we have worked to put that person out.
Okay.
Let me bring in the president of the National Association of Graduate Teachers, Int'l Kabanu, joins us on the line right now. Int'l, how is this latest eruption in Bawku affecting your teachers there?
Well, it is affecting education in general. Both children ability to or regularly to go to school, and teachers also attending school regularly with a peace of mind to be able to teach and create the learning atmosphere is been affected. Look, you don't need to be targeted before you get hit. You can be killed by a stray bullet, or you can be caught in crossfire,
or any of such situations, look at policemen.
Hello, Mr. Kabanu. Okay, we may have lost him there. Hello, Mr. Kabanu. Oh, you're still live. You're on News 90 on Joy 99.7 FM. Mr. Kabanu, can you hear?
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yes. Great.
Yeah. So policemen and military men have been caught in crossfire. It is not a conducive environment for school activity to take place. The consequences of this will be felt many, many, many years from now. Because whilst other children in other enclaves in this country are accessing education in peace and harmony, the boys and girls in Bawku are being hindered in education delivery. If this continues, it is Bawku and its inhabitants and its environs that is going to suffer.
Do you have any protection, though? We've just been speaking to the doctors, and they were very clear that to date, the police provide the protection for their members to go to work. What about you? What's the arrangement?
Well, the spread of schools is definitely different from the spread of health facilities. Schools are found in every nook and cranny of our society, and Bawku is no exception. Yes, when it comes to the secondary schools, yes, but when you talk about the basic schools, the primary one, from kindergarten to primary 6, JSS, it is in almost every community. So that would be a difficulty.
Thank you very much. That there is Angel Kabanu speaking to us, and apologies for the bad connection to him. And if you are in Bawku tonight and listening to us, why don't you get in touch? 055-11-11997 is the WhatsApp line. So live your news, Night on Joy 99.7 FM. Now to the Shanti Regional Capital now, where Amnesty International is demanding an apology and a retraction from the mayor of Kumasi, Ofori-Agyemang, following his recent comments threatening to flog traders who defy the city's pavement trading ban. The human rights organization described the mayor's remarks as deeply troubling and a violation of the basic rights and dignity of citizens. In an interview on Joy News, the board chairman of Amnesty International, Francis Nyamtechi, demanded that the mayor immediately retracts.
It's regrettable that a mayor should behave that way, and we have to condemn that act. And then also, I think that the president has to call him to order as early as possible. We want him to come out to retract and apologize to the individuals. Even if you look at the area they are talking about, the reason why the traders are in the streets is because of the actions of the government. So they were in their stores and in their sheds working, and the government asked them to leave for them to build a new market for them, and the government has actually reneged on that. And so your inaction should not result in punishing or threat to punish any innocent Ghanaian. We at no point support citizens to violate the laws we have set for ourselves. Secondly, people must make ends meet legitimately. And so if you ask them to move, where should they move to? That is the first question we should be asking the mayor. In any case, the most unfortunate thing is that every day, the same KMA send past people to go and take tolls from them. Every day, morning to evening. And so we need to tackle this issue with that. And at no point should we endorse our leaders to be using threats. The coercive power of the state is with them, and they must use it responsibly.
Well, we're also hearing from the traders themselves, and as you can imagine, they are not happy. Clinton Yeboah was at the Doom Market and interacted with the traders on the planned decongestion exercise and the threat by the mayor.
ekwan mu tena de enye emwa ye adwadifo no kra e kire se ka bi kra ti free na eba betimi abetwi afaye so na emom no sese ye ni ba bi te ye wie market e na ye kire ya ba bi a ye tena ton ade yi sese e ho no so ne gya to we ye dwu ho we si e kire ha so a ka ye betimi awura ho akotena tena kakra se ye ho so ye dwu ho eti de o ka ne de ye no kra pa na o ka no na emom e ma mere what say ye o so oba wo de aba na be si ye so sebi eno de entwa ye.
What she's saying is that she understands and they acknowledge the security implications of selling on the streets. However, they are courting and counting on the mayor and city authorities to facilitate the construction of markets, the stored markets in Kumasi, so that if they are leaving these streets or they are leaving these pathways, they have a place to move on. What they are also complaining about is the strategy that the mayor now seeks to employ, which they feel is unfair, considering that they have their livelihoods on the line.
Kama no mu fa yanko ne nyina so free ekwam afeso so wo so obeboye ebro ne de ye panachaw ompacha wo kra ompacha wo ya nyankra no aboye sebe na nakosi agima ba e wa amoye ma party ba e wa amoye no obeka che se ye obetwe abasie so
center market so nyanka ben a ifi se nke betimi aboye enu so enwie it is all Kojana Casa, Udia na Adabu and Sabi, and Yankola, Ukas Odia, would you between Ababu and Nessa, Unia Santamai, and Yasam Waka, some pass and tomato.
So, what these traders are essentially saying is that they have nowhere to go, and their only hope is for the stored markets to be completed. And one thing that they mention now is the fact that the Blue Light Arena, which is in Edum and caught fire, the market area that caught fire, has also brought a lot of them on the street since they have nowhere to be trading. What they also talk about is that the mayor should reconsider the strategy for which he wants to instill discipline and get them off the streets. I have been reporting from Edum Blue Light Arena. My name is Clinton Yabua for Joy News.
Well, as you may have heard already, Amnesty International isn't happy with the pronouncements by the Kumasi Mayor. Francis Nyamtuchi joins us on the line right now. He is the board chairman of Amnesty International. Francis, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. The mayor made the pronouncements because of the challenge that we know in the markets. The traders simply flout the bylaws not to trade on the pavement. We've tried several interventions. It hasn't worked. He thinks this is the way to go about it. If not this, what is the alternative?
Thank you for having me, and good evening to your cherished listeners. To start with, let me ask, who caused this problem? Crofo Market, which accommodates almost 10,000 traders in Kumasi, has been closed for over 2 decades. The Central Market has been closed for almost 3-4 years now. Where should the traders trade? No one is saying that they should be trading at where they are. But it's the same political regime that has pushed the market women into the streets and the traders. And so the problem is not caused by the traders, but rather our political leaders have actually caused this problem. And so to find a solution to it, we need to sit, analyze, and look at how we can support these women to do their business, or men do their business legitimately without putting their own lives at risk, but not to threaten them. The most unfortunate part of this process is that the mayor seems not to believe in the rule of law. And anybody who do not believe in the rule of law has no business in the governance of our country. For heaven's sake, Ghana is a democratic country. We believe in the protection of human rights, which is enshrined in the Chapter 5 of our Constitution. And so for a mayor to say, I don't even trust the police, and I will put my men in a bucket of a car, and when they meet you, they will, I mean, it's very unfortunate. It's something that...
Stay with me for a second. Let's hear him in full context. This is the mayor of Kumasi making the point yesterday.
And there's something we are going to do. And that is where I need your support. As for me, I don't like reporting too many things to the police. I don't want a situation whereby we'll put in place a police team, we'll go arrest people, and then they go to the police station, they find their own means, and they are back on the street. That would be a waste of time and resources for me. So I have my own democratic military style, which I'll be implementing. When we say leave this space, and you don't leave this space, and I get there, I am not lucky, and my boys are with me, there and then we'll beat you. There, in the middle of a doom. If you're not lucky, if I'm alone, you'll be lucky. But if I'm there, and my 10 boys are in their pickup with me, with their hips, trust me, we'll beat you. If you don't want to experience that kind of situation, do that which is right and which is lawful. This is Otumfuo City. This is the Asantehene City. This is the Garden City of West Africa. We have to preserve its image. And I am here to work to satisfy the city for Otumfuo. And I want to ensure that this city looks like Otumfuo City. And when we talk to you, and we implore on you to adhere to that which we all do, and we can all have peace, and you want to let the job become difficult for me, I will let your body feel the difficulty that you are giving to me. So when it gets to that period, please don't sit on your radio station and say that Akwawe or Basa ever had to training and all those things. Please.
So that's the mayor there, and I want to bring in also the former mayor of Kumasi. He was there. He also attempted to decongest the city. Joins us now, Mrs. Sampai. Mrs. Sampai, you attempted to also decongest the city. You also dealt with the traders. As we know, it wasn't quite a success because the traders are still there. He's trying something else. Do you endorse this approach?
Thank you, Evans, and a good evening to your listeners and those also watching you on other networks. It's a difficult task dealing with the people of Kumasi, which I must admit. And but for the approach, you see, the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, likewise all other metropolitan municipal district assemblies, have bylaws. We have our bylaws that are gazetted, and they deal with all offenses and infractions within the city. So going ahead with this, you put it democratic militarism is not the way to go. I mean, you do so, you are going to cost a lot of displeasure for yourself.
I mean, so what's the way to go then? You were there. What's the way to go, if not his style?
Yeah, the way is to make sure of the enforcement. I mean...
But you tried that, Mrs. Sampai. It didn't work.
No, but we tried it. It didn't work. We have a lot of things to do. One, the completion of the Central Market Phase 2 is one factor that when it's completed will help in the massive decongestion of the business center. Because all those people who walk around the place are people who walk around vehicles and all that. And the ground floor of that facility is going to be totally used for a terminal. And therefore, automatically, when the vehicles are no more picking people from the streets around where you have the traders, they will all leave and go and join them at the Central Market area.
But Mr. Pine, that is the theoretical expectation that once you build the market, they will move. But we know it's been tried in Accra. You build the market, the traders say it's difficult for customers to walk into the market, so they rather prefer selling on the pavement. Accra, a case in point, people died on the Adenta Dodowa Road. They built a footpath and overhead bridge for people to walk on, and still people cross the roads.
Yeah, so when you're having a massive decongestion, then you have reason to do that because the facility to house them, to make them comfortable to engage in their trade is there. And that is very important.
So do I hear you say that once you build the markets and they still refuse to move, then it's okay to adopt the democratic military
not okay to adopt that approach, but okay to use means that are legal, that are humane in letting them move to the market. Because after you deal with them, all that they tell you is that
Yes, we are working at the Central Market, we're working at Grove Room, we're working at these satellite markets, and all of these are under reconstruction, and therefore we have no option than to come and walk around these areas. So if those facilities are in place, they wouldn't have any justification whatsoever to be in the streets.
Mr. Pine, thank you very much. And I had with me also the Amnesty International board chair. And you heard some Pine, a former mayor of Kumasi. The first thing he said was it's very, very difficult dealing with the people of Kumasi. We can't do the same things, expect a different outcome, can we? Hello,
Thank
Francis.
Yeah, hello.
Francis, I can hear you.
Can you repeat the question for me?
I'm saying we can't do the same things and expect a different outcome.
So what the issue here is not about doing the same thing. The issue here is that you block my economic access to market for me to go and work. I must eat, which is a fundamental right that people must have at least basic necessities, food, clothing, shelter. And one has to work in order to provide for the family, provide for him or herself. And all these structures have been closed. Evans, I live in Kumasi, so I'm very familiar with the situation we are talking about. Crossford Market has been closed for almost 2 decades. The Central Market, which is the biggest market, is closed for almost 4 years. Traders have lost their stores and everything. So where exactly should they go? I expected the mayor to say that, you see, we have made this area available to you. Move to that place. If you don't go, then we apply the laws reasonably, as has been stated in our bylaws. But that is not what the mayor did. Go, whether you get job to do or not, it's not our business. You want to decongest the market. And I don't think that is responsible leadership.
Thank you very much. That there is Francis Nyantichi is with the board of Amnesty International. Thank you. I'm grateful that you joined us with your thoughts. And I want to hear from you. If you live in Kumasi, do you first agree with the former mayor who just joined us and say it's very difficult to do with the people of Kumasi? So, he tried, he didn't quite succeed. But yeah, the new mayor says, well, he will adopt the democratic military style. I want to hear your thoughts on this. George Yafe joining me with business. George, pretty interesting decision taken by the Kumasi mayor. Now that there's been a little criticism, I wonder whether he's going to press ahead with it.
If this approach or this strategy has worked in the past, we wouldn't have seen these people still on these pavements. So it appears that that strategy is not working. And therefore, what strategy should they adopt to deal with the situation? Because we've done this in the past. And one of the traders spoke about that former mayor, Okunkom, and he was very tough on them. But what happened? So it appears that this strategy is not working. And maybe we have to adopt other engagements to try and deal with the situation.
What do you have in the headline, Joe?
Well, coming up, $370 million IMF cash likely to hit Bank of Ghana's account by the end of June this year after the country secures board approval for its fourth review. And Finance Minister Dr. Tuforson rules out discussion to extend Ghana's program with the IMF that should be ending in May 2026. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all your office essentials. Sinter Stanks and Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal. You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, about $370 million IMF cash should hit Bank of Ghana's account at the end of June this year. Now, this will happen after the IMF board passes a report covering the country's fourth program review. Details in the following Business Desk report.
If this amount should hit the Bank of Ghana's account at the end of the second quarter of this year, it will bring the total amount that Ghana has secured since signing up to the IMF program in May 2023 at around $1.7 billion. The IMF, in the statement issued after the fourth review visit, praised government over what it described as bold measures aimed at addressing policy reform slippages and ensure that the program objectives are achieved. This includes enacting a strong budget and public financial management reforms, tightening monetary policy, and adjusting electricity prices. The IMF team also revealed that discussions with government of Ghana focused on possible additional measures that are needed to deal with structural weakness in public financial management. On inflation, the IMF noted that further tightening the monetary policy rate together with fiscal consolidation to help bring the rate down to appreciable levels. The fund, however, revealed that the program performance deteriorated ending 2024, whilst fiscal slippages in the run-up to the elections led to the large accumulation of payables, inflation exceeded program targets, and several reforms were delayed.
Now we understand that this $370 million that should come in would help finance some projects in the 2025 budget and also support the country's import needs for this year.
Renegotiating presupposes.
Now, Finance Minister Dr. Tuforson has ruled out discussions aimed at extending Ghana's program at the IMF. Now, there has been a report that government will have used this fourth program review visit to kickstart negotiations for the IMF to extend the program that should end in May 2026. But speaking at the joint news conference today, the Finance Minister noted that they are committed to completing the current program.
Renegotiating presupposes that you don't believe in the program and you want to open up a conversation to look at some of the parameters of the program. That isn't the position of the government. The government is fully committed to implement this program to the letter. And so I want to send a signal once and for all that the government is committed to the implementation and to achieve the objectives of the IMF supported program. That's what it is.
Finance Minister Dr. Atufos. Meanwhile, economist Professor Patrick Esumi has noted that despite the significant progress made under the program, there's still a lot of work to be done by government.
At every stage, there are some targets to be met, target dates, and additional to actually be added. So depending on the progress and issues that come up, the government together with the IMF, sometimes they revise the schedule. But I think another review, probably covering up to the first quarter or so, that will probably be done in July or so, and then we see where we're there. But don't forget that there are still aspects that have to be done, especially even the debt exchange. That part is not completely done, and we still have a small done. So all of those have to be done so that we finally bring an end to the debt restructuring. And then there are still a few structural issues that are yet to be addressed. Amendment to the BOG Act is still complete. So there are still a few things to be done.
And that is economist Professor Patrick Esumi. To add the story, the Federation Association of Ghanaian Exporters and the Ghana Export Promotion Authority have jointly announced plans to increase the country's earnings from non-traditional exports to over $5 billion within the next 2 years. Chairman of the association, Davis Kobo, said that more investments are needed in this space to ensure that this target is met. He was speaking at the launch of the 2025 Ghana Horticultural Expo.
Rather than viewing these challenges as insurmountable of the obstacles, we see them as opportunities to redirect our energies towards markets where Ghanaian products have competitive advantages. Chief among these is the Africa Continental Market. The Africa Continental Free Trade Area represents the single greatest opportunity for expanding Ghana's horticulture exports. We must move beyond celebratory rhetoric to practical implementation. Faith calls for accelerated progress on eliminating non-tariff barriers, harmonizing standards, and simplifying custom procedures. We need investment in logistics infrastructure and payment systems that facilitates intra-African trade.
And that is the chairman of the Federation of Ghanaian Exporters, Davis Kobo. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you, Evans.
John, thank you very much. Let's do sports now. Granton is here with the details.
Yeah, let's go straight into the stories. And the Ghana Hockey Association has opened up on the emotional toll. The withdrawal from the Junior Africa Cup has caused the team. Ghana withdrew from the Africa Junior Hockey Cup due to financial constraints last week, a move the association believes will heavily affect the future of the sport. Elizabeth King is the vice president of the Ghana Hockey Association.
If you look at the trend of the players, the current players that we have, it was through the youth games that we had the crop of our national team. That was somewhere in 2010. That we still have. We had the under 21 in East London. So in actual fact, they also wanted to be like that, because the ultimate goal of any hockey player is to play an international match, not to just play the local ones, but to play international games. So when it comes that they don't have the chance to play, it becomes disheartening for them.
Elizabeth King is the vice president of the Ghana Hockey Association. Moving on, 8 regional football associations today received Nizar Navara pickups as part of the FIFA Forward program, an initiative aimed at strengthening football development across the country. According to the Ghana Football Association, these vehicles provided under FIFA's flagship development project are intended to support the day-to-day administrative and operational activities of the RFAs. The GFA says the move is part of their vision to decentralize football development and empower regional bodies with tools they need to function effectively. The Greater Accra Regional FA and the Northern Regional FA are slated to receive their vehicles as part of the subsequent FIFA Forward program. Bring that into sports. Back to you, Evans.
And thank you very much, Kranting. Still live here on News 90s on Joy 99.7 FM. And I want to take you right now to Tamale for our latest episode in Breaking the Fire Cycle series. In Tamale, the timber market there, to be very specific, 3 months after a fierce blaze tore through that particular market, many locals are still without jobs, and yet no measures are in place to prevent another disaster. There's more in this report.
The effect of the Tamale timber market fire is still lingering as some affected traders are still awaiting for support to rebuild their stores which were destroyed by the fire. This incident is part of a larger trend of fire disasters that has affected the region. Master Suli, a trader at the timber market, said since the fire outbreak, nothing has changed.
And then up to date, we couldn't hear anything from anybody. Our leaders, especially the politicians, nobody come to this market to visit and see what is happening.
Abdulrahman Adam is one of the affected. He said life has become unbearable for him and his family.
As at now, we are not able to even build our own. This is the place that I'm getting small to build, to feed my family. So up to now, they are not giving even our tools. I don't have tools to do work. I have to buy new tools, and then money is not there.
Another carpenter at the market, Ibrahim Mutawakil, said it was difficult feeding his family whilst waiting to get back to work.
To feed our family was a problem, and even some of our machines, we couldn't repair it. Some are here. It is broken down. So lack of financial support.
It is not only the market that nothing has changed. The fire service mandated to tackle fire situations in the region said they are still grappling with over 8 fire tenders, shortage of water, among others. Public Relations Officer of the service, Baba Hudu, speaks.
We would say that it has not changed in terms of logistics and other challenges that we face. Everybody in the country agrees and knows that the Ghana National Fire Service over the period is faced with a lot of challenges. Challenges stemming from AG fire tenders, logistics, other firefighting equipment. We can also talk about sources of water for firefighting.
The service needs to be retooled to help address fire incidents.
The oldest vehicle we have in the system and in the region is 25 years. That tender or fire tender is 28 years. It was procured in 2000 till date. As we speak today, that vehicle has not been revived yet.
And Martina Burgri filed that report. You can catch the full series, this episode, or across our social media platforms. Now, child prostitution, drug abuse, counterfeit operations, and suspected human trafficking. That is what a joint task force of military and forestry commission personnel discovered deep in the Subri River Forest Reserve in the Western region. What was thought to be a small illegal mining camp turned out to be a hidden community of 10,000 inhabitants. Details in this report by Int'l Kwanzaa, read to you.
Deep in the Subiri River Forest Reserve in Ghana's western region lies a hidden community, a sprawling illegal mining settlement known as Abewa Ninkran. Home to more than 10,000 people, it has grown far beyond a makeshift village. This is no ordinary encampment. It's a full-blown enclave with its own shadow economy, one sustained by child prostitution, drug abuse, counterfeit operations, and suspected human trafficking. In a dawn raid, a joint task force made up of military personnel and the Forestry Commission stormed the enclave. What they expected to be a hideout for about 2,000 illegal miners turned out to be a bustling community with over 10,000 inhabitants, many of them foreign nationals from Nigeria, Guinea, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali.
This place, it's an eyesore. The place is full of illegal miners with all manner of activities within this community. We've seen incidents of child trafficking, child prostitution, drug abuse, money laundering, counterfeit, you name them. And we are getting nationals from all over the sub-region. It appears this community is a representation of ECOWAS. So we have people from other neighboring West African countries, from the Sahelian regions, from Guinea, from Niger, from Burkina Faso, from Nigeria, from Mali, and all of them are here. And this is a rural community. Why are they here? You can tell that there is no place within the community that they are mining. They are mining in the Subiri Forest Reserve. And the effect on the impact of the illegal mining on the forest is very devastating. So as you can see, we raided this community. We managed to get rid of the entire illegal hub that was probably constructed by these illegal miners as a hub. And in fact, what we've seen here is an ice. We managed to rescue some few foreign young Nigerians. One of them confided in us that her madam brought her the kind of work that she's expected her to do, she's not going to do. And clearly such a minor is being trafficked and involved in prostitution right here in this village.
Among those found were trafficked girls from Nigeria, lured with false promises and forced into the sex trade.
And you can find the full report on our social media platforms. A really powerful look indeed. Also on myjoyonline.com. The pictures are really heart-wrenching if you watch what indeed the military and the police and forestry guards found in that particular forest reserve. It's now time for Geek Squad, and Peps is here with the very latest. What are we talking about?
Have you been to a hotel or a particular place and you are asked to enter some details like your Ghana card and you are wondering?
Yes, no, absolutely. I always hate that.
What are these people going to use it for?
Exactly. And you're wondering what, and they say it's a requirement. Every hotel does that.
Exactly. We want to see how these businesses are actually working to ensure data privacy and security, because now data is everything and almost everywhere they are asking for it. We want to look at that basically for our
looking forward to
tonight.
that.
Yeah.